Headlines Barbershop presents Ball Fade with Bigen. Now I already know what you're thinking, it's pronounced Beijing, but the founder calls it Bigen, so I'm gonna call it Bigen. So right here you're looking at the before and after pictures, and as you can see we've totally transformed this guy's image. And that's the beauty of what we do, of what barbers do. We can change people's lives like that. So anyways, we're gonna get right into it. We're using the Walls balding clipper, and we're gonna bald them out all the way around. We're gonna make sure we're nice and even, nice and clean, and we're just going the same height on both sides. And you check your mirrors, make sure that you're the same height. You don't want one side of your fade to be higher than the other side. I mean, you never know how picky a client is that sits in your chair, and some of our clients, man, they pay attention to that stuff. You'll be surprised. Alright, so right here we got an Andes Masters, and it's all the way open with no guard on. We're going up as usual, a half inch to an inch up, giving us enough room to really make that transition, to have that nice blend. What a lot of you guys do is you make the mistake of not going high enough. So it's gonna leave a bulk all the way around if you don't go high enough. It's gonna look like a bowl cut. So right here we're gonna take out that first line. We got the Andes all the way closed. Push your lever up to the first notch, and the clipper should be all the way closed. And you're taking out that first line, going up about a quarter inch. Going up about a quarter inch. You're not just kind of nipping that line. You're going up a quarter inch. So right here we move the lever up as shown in the captions, and we're going up another quarter inch. Don't be afraid to go up. As long as you don't go past that next guideline, you're not going to raise the fade. So we're moving the lever to the third notch from the closed position. So it's almost all the way open. And as you can see, it's pretty much almost blended. And like I said, as long as you don't go past that guideline that you see I'm getting close to, you're not raising the fade. Alright, so we got the number 0 guard on now, and you're just going to repeat the same adjustments. So the same way that we opened it to the second notch, then the third notch, and then all the way open, you can do the same thing with the 0 guard. And you're going to go up a quarter inch each time you move that lever. I want you guys to understand the theory. Cutting hair is simple as long as you're organized, as long as you're clean with your haircuts, as long as you follow a system. If you have a system in place, your haircuts will be faster. You won't be second guessing yourself. You'll feel more confident when you go into a haircut. So this is my 4th video, and I think for the most part, a lot of the next videos, I'll just be talking, man, and just giving you guys some nuggets. I'll let the captions kind of keep you on pace with what I'm doing as far as guards and moving the lever and stuff. But I really want to take time during the videos to give you guys some tips and some nuggets, and really understand what I'm doing, rather than just look left, look right. You know what I mean? Like, so on this haircut, I didn't do as many guidelines, because in the other videos, if you go back and you look at the comb over fade, you look at the low ball fade, you look at the South of France, you'll see my guidelines, you'll see the steps. And what I'm hoping is that you've watched those, and now when you get to this video, you're a little more familiar with the steps. So as you can see, really pay attention to the way that the hair grows. If it's growing at an angle, make sure you're going against the grain and you're going in at an angle with the clipper as well. If you see a lot of bulk around the around his head, remember I'm gonna go back and detail it. This is kind of like the rough draft, right? It doesn't have to be perfect the first time, but I'm gonna fade up and then I'm gonna fade down and kind of and detail, and that's where the blend really starts to take form. See, I'm the type of barber where I prefer quality over quantity. I could do a 15-minute fade, a 20-minute fade, but it's probably not gonna come out with the quality, and you're probably not gonna have the same retention rate going that route, the fast fade. You're not gonna have that retention rate. See, I want to be the barber that a week in advance I'm booked. I know what I'm gonna make. I have to open up my book in order to fit in more clients. It's gonna be very difficult to do that if what you're worried about is quantity. I want long term clients. So if you want to be that same type of barber, then this is the route to take. Take your time, pay attention to detail. This haircut right here should take you about an hour because I am applying Beijing or Bigen. And if you're curious, in my area in Tampa, this service right here would range between $30 and $40. And that's in Tampa. It could be different in California. In California, it's probably $50, $60. So this is where I'm going back, and I'm taking out dark spots. I'm doing the whole trial and error method, where I'm going back with a higher guard than I expect it to be. And if I don't hear it cutting, or if I don't feel it cutting, I'll lower the guard until it does what I want it to do, until I take out some of that bulk. And if you notice, I stretch the skin or I stretch the scalp so that I can remove some of that bulk or that darkness inside of the indents of his scalp. Because if you look at his head, he has a lot of dents in his head. And to get into that, you use that thumb, you pull up on there, and you cut in there. Yeah, so I'll go back and I'll probably spend another 10 minutes, man, detailing this. And you'll really start to see the difference. A smoother transition, a smoother blend. You want that thing to look blurry. And listen, if you're a young barber and you're in a barber shop, don't look around at the barbers there and say this is my ceiling, this is where I want to go. Go on IG, go on Barbershop Connect, go on YouTube, and find a barber that you think is the best you've seen, and make that your ceiling, make that the bar, and get there. Because once you get there, you're not talking about being the best barber in your shop. You're talking about being the best barber in your town, in your city. That's where you want to get. Don't set limits on yourself. A lot about learning how to cut hair is repetition. How often you're cutting. That's where you're gonna learn. No barber school is not gonna. not gonna do you justice if you're not putting this into action. YouTube videos are not gonna do you justice if you're not putting it into action. You can see it's starting to take form. It's starting to get, as barbers call it, blurry. And that's just because I'm taking that extra time to do it. I'm not rushing my man's haircut. This guy right here, the way I look at it is, I'm going to do everything I can so that through him, I will acquire new clients. If you attack every haircut thinking that way, that this guy is my billboard, this guy is my advertisement. You attack every haircut that way, you will get referrals and you will get retention. As you know, anything that's bald, I go right behind it with the balding with the shaver. And I just switched from the 5-star shaver to the Andy shaver. I'm gonna do a review on that because that shaver is unbelievable. I've been selling them to clients like hotcakes. But a good trick with the shaver is to flick at it, and once you get close to that to that zero line, um, go down. Use downward strokes rather than upward strokes with that shaver. And if you cause any new lines, just go right back at it with the trimmer and the Andes Masters all the way closed. So this is a trick I like to do, especially when it's long hair because he has a number 4 on top. I like to wet the hair, comb it down, and you could blow dry it, get it dry afterwards, and then I'll shape it up. Because the last thing I want to happen is he goes in the pool or he takes a shower, looks in the mirror, and he got long hairs hanging down his forehead. When you line up the sides, don't try to look at it from the side and put a straight line down. Line it up at the natural angle it has. Because if you try to line it up straight down on the sides and then you look at them from the front view, it's gonna look like it's flaring out his hairline. And like I've told you in the past, what I do in the front, when I'm lining them up in the front, I look for the highest point in the front because there's always a high point in the front, a receding area in the front. And then I'll line that up, I'll leave it as natural as possible, and then I'll match everything up with that. See, by doing that, instead of lining up the most receding part, so that has a nice crisp line, and then going and attacking the rest of it, you're avoiding pushing the hairline way back. Because if you do the receding part the way you want it to look crispy, then you got to push the rest of it up to match, and you're going to push it up super high. So my client here, he wanted a part. What I do with the part is the top portion of the part, I line up first, and I make that as crispy as possible. Because if you go too close to his hairline, if you line it up too far down to his hairline, you're going to put a patch right in the front of his hairline. He's going to look like he's balding. Right there on the bottom left corner. You see where I'm lining him up right now? I'm being very careful not to push it down too much. Because if you push it down too much, a patch of his hair will come off and it'll look like he's bald in that spot. So you want to be careful on the bottom portion of that part. I would much rather push the top part of the part. I would much rather push that up than try to push down the bottom line. Trust me on that. So right here I'm using my Mentos Ultra Shave Gel. And I do this on every client. Makes it much more comfortable for them. A much better experience. Remember, When you're doing a quality haircut, you want it to be an experience. When you want retention rate, when you want referrals, it's not about just the haircut. It's not just about the conversation. It's about the experience, the full package, man. How comfortable they feel. What are you doing to make it a wow moment for them? Like, yo, my last barber don't do any of this for me. So when I'm shaving, what I like to do is, if you notice, I like to shape up the sideburn part first. Then I'll shape up the part closest to the mustache, and then I'll connect it all in the middle. And I'm stretching the skin while I'm not lining it up. I didn't use any liners for the top part of his beard. I just went straight to the beard. I mean, straight to the razor. Stretching the skin. Using the corners of the blade a lot most of the time. Like probably 90% of the time I'm using the corner of the blade. I'm not using the full blade. Of course, with the part, you want to ask him how he wants the part. You know, if he wants it curved, if he wants it straight back. You can, pull out your Google images on your smartphone. Get an example. Right here, I went, the hair grows inwards to his hairline. So in order to go against the grain, I had to go the opposite direction of where his hairline is. The mustache area is very coarse, very hard to shave most of the time. So you just want to prep that area real good. Put a bunch of shave gel on there and make sure that he stretches the skin above his mustache so that you can shave it and it will be comfortable for him. If you're not using razors in your barbershops and your clients, man, you're doing yourself an injustice. I don't care if in your area people don't use razors. I don't care if in your barbershop most people ain't using razors. You start breaking out that razor, you're gonna change the game for yourself. You're gonna lock in a lot of clients. I know a client of mine. He just moved to Washington D.C. I was like, man, I can't find a barbershop out there that uses the razor. I literally gotta ask them. I gotta ask them to use the razor on me. Man, you're doing yourself an injustice. If you're in the Washington D.C. area, you're a good barber, and you use the razor, please comment down below. Let me know. I got a client for you. A good client comes every other week, pays good money. So what I like to do too is I also like to comb that gel into the hairs. Make sure I get underneath the hair onto the skin. So what I do down here by the chin below the lip is I'll line up the middle first and then I'll take it over to the corners. And what I can't show you in the on the camera is that I use my mirror a lot to make sure that both sides are even. And if it's not even as you're seeing me do it, it's because I haven't checked the mirror yet. But I always go back and I check that mirror and I fix it before my client leaves his chair. You can see like on the bottom right corner, below the lip, it's curved than the left side of it. I'll fix that before he gets out of my chair. So I always finish it off with the shaver, like around the cheek area, just to go over anything that I might have missed with the razor. So here I'm gonna start applying the Beijing or the Bigen. When you get to the outer lining, to obviously the beard line, you want to make sure you put some pressure on it and you really get that Bigen underneath the hairs onto the skin because you want that stain. You want it to stain especially by the beard line. One thing that barbers miss out too on, I'm not gonna finish the whole beard because my camera runs out of battery. I'll do a video just on Bigen soon, show you how to mix it and all that stuff. But I just want to go through quick tips. Make sure you put a good amount of Bigen on the brush, and you really put it on there. Put some pressure on there. Get it underneath the hairs. Especially if there's light spots, you want to put a lot of Bigen on that light spot so that it stains it and it looks even. By the hairlines, you want to be clean. Keep a towel with a little bit of water on the towel so that especially by the parts that are fading, you can kind of rub the Bigen into the fading area, and it won't stain the fading area as much, but you'll still get that nice line on there. See how I'm doing that right there? And also you can clean up if you go past the hairline. You can clean it up. So keep that with you. Use a nice brush, a business card to get by the hairline. And after you're done applying it, once you use a blow dryer, give your client the blow dryer. Make sure he does it until it gets real hard. Then what I like to do is I want him to stretch his skin, maybe smile, open his mouth, whatever it may be, to get it to crack. And any spots that you see that need more color, go back and put some more color in it so that you get it real detailed. Then he's gonna go to the shampoo bowl, put some shampoo and conditioner, wash it out, and then you're gonna have that nice natural look. It's not gonna look like this. And you saw with the before and after pictures, it didn't look like a Sharpie. It looked nice and natural if you do it right. I don't usually use the Oriental Black, the 59. I use the 58 and 57. This is the after picture. So thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. I post stuff on Instagram.